Hello and welcome. My name is Dr. Jeremy, and today in this third video in the Comparative Historical Analysis Tool series, we're going to look at steps 1 and 2. Our content comes from grade 10, unit 1, Early Modern Empires, and our objectives are to 1, gather information using step 1 of the tool, and then 2, group the evidence into categories using step 2 of the tool. In the previous videos, we went over the Comparative Historical Analysis Tool. We also read and annotated two sources on the Bourbon Dynasty and the Tokugawa Shogunate from grade 10, unit 1, lesson 11. Today, we're going to use the evidence from the sources and our knowledge of world history to begin comparing the two empires. We're going to look at step 1 and step 2. If you wish, you may pause the video here to record what you know about the Bourbon Dynasty or the Tokugawa Shogunate. List as many major facts or points that you know. It could come from your own knowledge of world history or from the annotations that we had done from the previous video with the two sources. I'm now going to walk you through my step 1 so you can see what facts I put down. So for the Bourbon dynasty, in the reading, I learned that France was an absolute monarchy under Louis XIV. Nobles worked in Versailles and consisted of about 1% of the population. He was also known as the Sun King, and he used his power to control as well as collaborate with royal administration. The monarchy not only controlled the country, but also introduced new forms of taxation, military organization, and more. The monarchy also seemed to have fostered a culture of loyalty to the king and a culture of fear as well. And we also saw that nobles were housed in Versailles for part of the year so that they could be observed and monitored. They were also there to meet too with the king and to basically be part of Versailles itself. Another outside knowledge that we know too is that everything around the nobles' lives revolved around what the king wanted. So everything had to revolve around how to dress, how to court etiquette, what you should be like and you should do. Everything was based on Versailles, which gave the king a lot of control. And we also know from the reading and the image for the Tokugawa shogunate that while there was an emperor in Japan, Tokugawa Ieyasu unified Japan. And this is actually going to also come from our previous knowledge that before the Edo period, Japan was really locked in a lot of warfare. The powerful landowners or the nobles, also known as the daimyo, they competed with a lot with each other for territory and for more power. So while we had an emperor, it was really these powerful landowners who had the power until Tokugawa Ieyasu will unify everyone and form the Tokugawa shogunate. So I wanted to put that there because it really juxtaposed nicely with the absolute monarchy. The shogun, and we read this in the passage, the shogun made Edo Castle his base of power and a way to centralize his power as well. To keep the daimyos in check, they were required to pay for materials or give finances for the rebuilding and expansion of Edo Castle. The wealthier daimyos had to contribute more as well. I thought that was pretty interesting. And those who did not pay were required to contribute their labor. So if you could not pay, you had to help build. And this is also coming from outside knowledge, and feel free to add even more outside knowledge for either one of these. Every second year, the daimyos were forced to live in Edo. And when they're not there, they were forced to leave a family member. And I thought that juxtaposed pretty nicely with the nobles living part of the year in Versailles. So now we have a couple of facts. You may have different ones, or you may have even more than I do, but we have a couple of facts now. So our next step is to try to categorize by grouping these facts. So what is step 2 asking us to do? We're looking at our evidence that we know, and we want to try to start making sense of the evidence. So you could come up with as many groups and categories as you can, but have at least 2 of them. And if you wish, we have our definition from Unit 1 on empire that could help you figure out, well, what do these empires look like? What are their characteristics? So for the Bourbon dynasty, look at the previous slide if you wish, or look at what you have down, group your facts together, and do the same for the Tokugawa shogunate. You may pause here to work on this. So I will also now show you what I have, and I'll explain part of why I did this. So I saw centralization of power as definitely a key cornerstone for both of them. So I did put that down. I did notice that there's absolute monarchy in the Bourbon dynasty, and I kind of wanted to write the shared power between the emperor and the shogun. And then I saw there was a culture of loyalty and fear. There are a couple of things I could group into there. And then I saw the unification as a major theme for the Tokugawa shogunate because it's all in a way for how Tokugawa really like consolidated his power as well. Right. So when we look at step 2, we can see that there are a couple of things that they do have in common, but there's one category that really seems to stick out. And we're going to look at that one category, the centralization of power, when we look at step 3 in the next video. See you there.